Hey there, this is Codefinity, and in this video I'm going to go through this template repo which uses Vite. Yes, it's pronounced Vite, even though it's spelled like Vite. Vite, apparently it's the French word for speed or something, so Vite, Tailwind, and JavaScript, and how this template repo works. Now I'm not going to bore you with each and every little nuance and detail, but we'll give a quick high-level overview of some of the things that are in this repo and why they are there. So to get started, if you want to follow along, you'll grab the template repo link in the description on this video. You'll make sure you go to an appropriate directory on your computer, wherever you want it to be, and you'll clone this repo, making sure you don't clone it into an existing repo, right? So we always clone repos into a directory that's not a repo. What I mean by that, if I go cd ... I've got this directory. This is not a repository because I don't see like the main branch thing showing. And now, if I go in here, now I'm in a repo. That's all that means. Okay, so code space doc should open this up in VS Code. And we've got this .vs code directory. And what that does is, of course, it's calling out to VS Code, hey, look at me, look at me. So this only works if you open up a project and .vs code is in the top level directory here. And inside of here, we have some recommended extensions. So whenever you open this up, you might get prompted in the bottom right to install recommended extensions, and you should go ahead and do that. One of the main ones in here is this one that helps us out with Tailwind CSS, which we'll briefly take a look at in this video. But that's kind of a little bit of a separate topic. So there's other stuff in here to help you write better JavaScript comments. There's Biome for formatting and linting and looking for common mistakes and bad patterns in our code. You know, something to keep an eye on our HTML, spell checker, some things like that, things that call out errors, even a tool for working with Markdown. So from a high level, the purpose of this is just that it will check to make sure you have these extensions installed. And if you don't, in the bottom right, it'll suggest that you install them, which you should. Then here in the settings, a whole bunch of settings. We're just basically saying we want to use Biome, which, as a quick reminder, if we look up Biome here, it's formatting, linting, really, really fast. It's kind of the successor to something called ESLint. And both of these are tools that help us clean up and write a little bit better JavaScript. Since JavaScript by itself just kind of lets us do almost anything, it's very easy to pick up really bad habits. Let's see, a few other things in here. We're actually not validating our CSS because we're not going to be writing CSS. We're going to be using Tailwind. But again, more on that in a different video. So it just helps us out with closing out our brackets, comments, colorization. This one is really cool here because whenever we switch out of a file or tab out of it, it's going to automatically try to clean up our code, format it with Biome, kind of automate a lot of those types of things for us. So we want to make sure, again, that our formatter is Biome, format things on save, and so on and so forth. Auto-closing tags. If you have a specific question on something, you can drop a comment or whatever, let me know, but that's generally what this is about. Let's take a look at the README. And, well, this kind of just tells you how to get started. Yeah, I should remind you that after you clone this, make sure that you use a package installer. In this case, I'm using Bun. So Bun install to make sure you install all of the dependencies. So that's listed in our manifest file, this package JSON file, and so it'll install these packages. So that's going to allow us to use things like Tailwind and Biome and Vite, which we'll get to very shortly. Let's see. I guess let's just kind of fire this thing up and show you what it's about then. We're going to run bun run dev, and that just comes from the package JSON. See, there's a script called dev, and that'll call Vite or fire up Vite. So what happens is now our terminal is kind of locked down, it's in use, which means if you want to do anything in your terminal, if you're using something like Warp, which you can grab a link to download Warp in the description also, you can hit Command T and it'll open up a separate tab and you can type, like your git commands and things like that in here. But note that once you start this development server, you can't really type any more commands into this terminal tab until you shut this down with Control-C, okay? So bun run dev starts our localhost Vite server. So this is running a local server on our computer, almost exactly how things would be running on a real live web server on the web. So here on Mac, I can hit Command click and it should open this up. And we can see here it says hello world, it's kind of underlined and stuff. Let's take a look at what that is. We go to our HTML file. There's the hello world. It's an H1. And again, this will be for a different video, but here's how we're doing our styling using Tailwind. We're using these Tailwind utility classes. For instance, I could do like text center, and that's going to center the text. I can do like margin top, 24, and that's going to, of course, move it down. I could change the color to, a certain shade of red, for instance, and it'll be red. So again, Tailwind is just, when you hover over these, you can actually see exactly what it's doing and how it's translating into CSS. It just has a bunch of these utility classes, but that's something I can cover a little bit more some other time. The point is we have a web server, and I didn't really point this out yet, but you'll notice as soon as I typed an update to the code, almost instantaneously, before I could even get here, I already saw the update. So I can go in here and just add, something else, like maybe a P tag. We'll let the AI kind of just add some stuff. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So we can see I'm adding a P tag with some other styles and things. And as soon as I go back here, it immediately updates the code. That's one of the biggest benefits. It's really, really fast. There's no like save and then open up an HTML file. We're running a live hot reload web server right here on our computer. And that's really what Vite is more or less about. If you look up Vite here, it's a whole bunch of tooling for front-end development and stuff. So there's really a lot to it, so I won't try to get into all of that. I will just point out we have a Vite configuration file here, and it looks like our biome wasn't satisfied with the formatting or how these things were organized, so I hit Command S. As soon as I did that, because of our settings, it automatically formatted things. But anyway, this thing is just saying, hey, Vite, I want to use Tailwind to use Tailwind. And with Tailwind, here in our CSS, all we're doing is importing the Tailwind package, and it gives us access to all of those utility classes. Really cool stuff. Pretty modern setup here. We're just, writing plain vanilla JavaScript. So for instance, if I wanted to change what this text here is, just to give a quick, here's our console log, right? So if I go back to our Vite server and I look in the console, we can see there's our console log. But let's do some other, like, more JavaScript stuff. And it doesn't matter if you, aren't familiar with what's happening here. That's fine. We can cover it in a different video. But let me just go into the HTML document object. And I will, let's do and I will select an H1 tag, like the first one the only one that's on the page, because we should only have one top level heading. And then I will just change its inner text to something else. And so now we can see that even though the HTML says hello world, as soon as the JavaScript is loaded and runs, we've actually changed what that stuff is dynamically with JavaScript. So I guess that's good enough for a really quick overview of what is happening here. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that at this time.